So the founder of Hootsuite wrote an interesting article about how we share in society now and how we sell in society. So it's Ryan Holmes and Hootsuite. What they do is they allow you to plan your social media. So nice job, Ryan, in writing that article and getting us to talk about it. Okay, so if you want to send out tweets at a certain time or posts at a certain time, you use them. I'm not sure if TYT uses them, but we might. So they serve a role. God bless, makes sense. And he brought up an interesting question about technology. It's like in the old days, the sales guys, and I knew some of these guys. I briefly worked in sales. They knew Bob down who sold furniture, and they knew Jack who sold the car. It was at the car dealership, right? And they all listened to Rush and yeah, all right, guys, and okay. But the upside of that, the good part of it was they knew their kids' birthdays and their ages and stuff, and within their own goofy circle, they liked each other and they had a human interaction. Right, and of course there's nice people who are salespeople and nice people who run businesses. I hope we are, right? Now we've kind of lost that human interaction, and part of Ryan's argument is that, well, we can gain it back because now the computers know your birthday, and so they can send you a nice message on your birthday. I'm not sure, and I'm oversimplifying his argument to be fair, but I'm not sure that does the trick. So, Joe. Is that good enough to just replace the human interaction with a computer saying congratulations, Joe, today is your birthday?
You know my answer is no.
Of course, here comes Joe the Lib.
Whose answer is yes, though?
Well, that's true.
Exactly. It's not a little more.
It's like yeah, I like cyborgs. John Idarola might say.
Yeah, he might say that's pretty cool. Yeah. He was born after people talk to each other, though, so that's totally different.
Oh, really? Well, I think though it does speak to this opportunity we have to imagine progressive business models, and in particular, how we can use technology to make human interactions better. There's one prevailing school of thought that technology should replace human interactions, but an alternative school of thought, which I think is a progressive one, is technology can make human interactions better. That perhaps you can imagine times when customer service can be customized to you're interacting with someone on your smartphone via video, and actually it becomes a more intimate experience. And that the cost savings that technology drives in some areas can be reinvested in making the human interaction superior in other areas. I don't think this article necessarily gets at it, but it can trigger a bigger conversation.
Yeah, I realize that I used to have fun. Like I'd go to the retail store, I'd pick up girls. That did happen once or twice.
It's like the Woody Allen line. Then I'm realizing someone else's life is flashing before me. Who are you talking about?
Anyway, and I'd joke around with the cash register person and stuff like that. And this is really about me and not about this story. Yeah. And then I realized as you're telling me, well, we could do a video chat, right? And that way we could still have that human interaction with the time that I saved not buying shoes at the store. And I thought I wouldn't do that video chat. Because I don't have enough time. I ain't got time. Ain't nobody got time for video chat. I'm constantly struggling with this, seriously. Like, on the one hand, we're all looking at our iPhones, and that's annoying. And everybody knows that's annoying, right? On the other hand, our iPhones connect us to the world. And so you get to be friends with someone in Australia, which you never would have gotten to be friends with. My sister loves art. She's now well known enough. She's not an expert. She's going to get her PhD now, right? But it's not like she's written books on top of books about art, etc. But when she goes to museums, she's such an enthusiast and has found such a home online that sometimes museums come out to to greet her when she's at their museum and tweets it. Wow. And that's pretty neat, right? Whereas a social interaction online lets you in a human interaction. Yeah. So, nonetheless, my kid is like, constantly like this. So, I'm split on it. Yeah. I'm usually optimistic. I think I will be at the end, but it's sometimes on some days it's a little hard to get there.
Yeah, I'm not as optimistic. I can't stand my son just having his head buried in it.
Yeah.
I think it for the most part, yeah, there are all I think we all have stories where, oh my God, it's been great, and very often it is. You know, as a sports fan, it's great. You know, as somebody who is curious about different. You know, we all are. We hear something, you know, why is Canberra the capital of Australia? Boom, within 30 seconds, you know why, right? But I think that it does take away, and this is, you know, very sort of old-fashioned of me, but it takes away that human interaction. And this certainly doesn't replace it. And I don't know that anything can. I guess you sort of have to applaud this and say, oh, maybe this, you know, this social selling is better. Maybe these types of things are a move in the right direction. But it's never going to replace just putting it down and walking in, like, you know, and to me, I mean, that's the shame of it all. And I think that outweighs some of the good things.
Well, what do we know to be one of the biggest problems in our culture? That people are more isolated and lonely than ever before. And it's a conundrum because we're all more connected technologically. And I think this is one of the hard culture questions we have to tackle in the coming years for, you know, our kids' generation. Like, is technology making our lives better?
Right.
Because that should be the question. The question shouldn't be advance technology for the sake of advancing technology. It should be advancing it only if it's making our lives as humans better.
Yeah, well, so Joe, you and I are in a unique situation where we're both started companies that are strictly online, right? Yeah. So
this is great. What do I have to say about this?
So bah humbug over there, but we kind of make a living out of it. So but let me give a couple of the upsides here. So now that I'm the panel's optimist, which is usually the case, I'm Mr. Optimist, unless I'm talking about the corporate Democrats. Anyway.
That's the only time I'm optimistic.
So look, I'm in Italy and my son asked me about something and we look it up and I go, oh, no problem, we'll ask Uncle Google, right? Yeah. And then I am going to Verona and I look up the history of Verona. I'm like, did you know that Austria used to rule Verona? I didn't know, that's amazing. Then we go to Venice. Did you know Austria used to rule Venice? That's amazing, right? So I love that, and then you can, before I went to Verona on the train in the middle of Italy, I said, hey, if you're a TYT fan, come up to me in Verona and I'll give you a t-shirt. And I get to Verona, 2 people come up to me and they're like, hey, Cenk, heard you were here, can I get a t-shirt? That's amazing. Okay, so
it's amazing that you had T-shirts with you.
No, I'm with me. That Jesus is going to send it to them months later. Okay, so there again we lead a human interaction that started online. And TYT, the whole point of this is, you know, we got to do this because of the internet. We wouldn't have gotten to do it otherwise. Aspiration.com, you don't have brick and mortar. Right. You only do it online. Yeah. And so, you know, you got a unique perspective on that. Yeah. You're still worried about it, but I mean, so how do you handle it, I guess?
Yeah, well, aspiration is about using the cost savings that we enjoy by being online only to deliver better results for our customers and to put power in the hands of our customers. The fact that our business model is pay what's fair, which means our customers choose their fee, is possible because we can take that risk without having all of these costs of brick and mortar branches. So I'd hope that it's an example of using technology to make the human experience better. And of course, you know, it's lots of shades of gray. I mean, there's lots of great examples of technology. I just think we're at a time now where we aren't asking this more fundamental question. Are we advancing technology to make the human condition better? Or are we just advancing technology because we're in this wheel of technology, faster, more, better, without asking why?
Right. Yeah. What's your when you look at aspiration, and you know, it's your company, but when you think about it, what's something that drives you crazy that you can't do? And I mean that sincerely. Like, what is the, you know, something that's like, God, I wish we could do that, but because we are what we are, we can't.
Well, it takes about 5 to 7 minutes to open an account.
Okay.
But technologically, we could make that account opening experience as short as probably 30 seconds.
Right.
But the big incumbents in the financial industry don't want it to be easy to open new accounts at other institutions. And so,
that's so interesting.
The big,
I hadn't thought of that.
So the big companies have lobbied to make it harder to open new bank accounts and hard to leave your bank. I'll give you another example. you have your bill pay set up with all of your bills you pay at your bank, right? And it should be as easy as you click a button and then that goes over to your new bank account. But that's not allowed because the big banks don't want you to be able to transport all of your info to a new bank account. And so those kinds of barriers, which are erected just to protect the incumbents, mean that we can't deliver as great a customer experience for people as we technologically could.
Yeah. So every once in a while when I'm talking to Joe, I have like, oh, I get it. So by the way, if you don't, let me tell you, just aspiration.com is one of our sponsors. And so I was talking to Joe about, like, are you sure you can let people just pay whatever fees they want? That sounds a little crazy, right? And earlier in the show, we were talking about how you guys have no swipe fees on the debit card. And then like Joe explained, right, but we don't have all those giant stores that cost all that money. And I was like, oh, right. If you don't have that huge cost, you could do things for a lot cheaper and then people can get a better experience. But I'm not just saying that because they're our sponsor, although they are, and that's helpful, okay? But it's true. It's like, I get it.
Well, as important as the absence of those brick and mortar costs is the fact that because we do right for our customers love us, they refer their friends and family to join us, and while the big banks have to spend tons on marketing, we spend a fraction of a fraction. And so that's another cost saving that we can pass on to our customers.